another meeting. And how did they get that bill?
And it was in some.
She was forced.
It is now. Now called the Accomack County School Board meeting to order. May we all stand and please allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, roll call.
Present.
Present.
Here.
Present.
Here. Dr. Holden.
Here.
White.
Here.
Here.
I motion that we allow Ms. Handy to join remotely. Second.
It's moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Item 2.01, public comment.
All right, identify yourself by name and 911 address. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Individuals may not reserve or otherwise transfer their time to another speaker. Specific personnel matters must not be initiated at a public meeting. Speakers cannot be abusive, threatening, or use profanity. Specify the nature of your remarks. Speakers who have previously spoken on a subject for public comment shall not be allowed to readdress the board during the same public comment period. Specific questions should be resolved prior to the meeting by contacting the superintendent or the appropriate staff member. Anyone who would like to present a PowerPoint presentation for public comment has to present the presentation 24 hours in advance for review by staff for appropriateness. All questions shall be directed to the chairman, who will, at his discretion, solicit the response from the appropriate staff member.
All right, we have 4 people that have signed up. The first person is Mr. Tommy Honey.
Good evening. My name is Tommy Hines. Turn the mic on, please.
Front of me. Front of me. Oh, there you go. You're good.
There you go. All right. My name is Tommy Hines, 2323 6 Courthouse Avenue, Accomack. I'm on the Town Council in Accomack, and I've addressed this board before on this situation with Accomack Primary School. But after the meeting months and months ago, I was asked to be interviewed by WBOC, and WBOC introduced our signs posted throughout Accomack in the broadcast, and it was a 1906 Maritime Code acronym, SOS, and it was either save the ship, save your soul, and now it's save our school. And I'd like to thank Chris Newman for making those signs up. I told WBOC my thoughts and what others expressed, what they would like to see happen to the school. We would like to see the history to be kept to our town, keeping the historic appearance of the school the same. I know that the interior has to be redone, because I've been in it, according to make offices. But it could also be used for the county and community meetings, because it was a large auditorium. We do not want to see a parking lot in the front yard or on the south side of the building. It will take away from the history of the school, and please don't damage the trees. That's the only thing I've been hearing. Being on from the town council, we would like to be transparent with county and the school board, knowing what's going on. There's so many things that have happened here in the county, or in the town of Accomack. We are incorporated town, and every time something happens, the zoning, we have a zoning board and a planning board, and every time something happens, they just do it. We don't have any idea what's going on or anything else. So we would really like to be included in this. And I hope that the report that WJE is a positive to safer school.
Thank you very much. All right, Mr. Christopher Newman.
First of all, thank all of you for the service that you give to our county and the love you give to our children. We do appreciate you. I live on Jailhouse Road, and speaking on behalf of the Accomack Town Council and hundreds of people from all over Accomack County, students, teachers, parents, school staff, who support our efforts to save and restore the Accomack Primary School, which was built in 1932, a historic building which remains structurally sound and beautiful 91 years later. The interior damage is the result of neglect, age, and various Accomack County departments' use of the building, and also Bailey Hall, for storage and county school maintenance. If the county owns these taxpayer-funded buildings, including the school, Bailey Hall, debtor's prison, and the soon-to-be vacant library, some agency ought to be responsible for the maintenance of these buildings. 3 of them are historic. Ted Shockley wrote a beautiful article, editorial in the Post on Friday. I hope you got to read that. And it speaks most distinctly regarding the Accomack school issue. 13 months later, 13 months we've been waiting for some kind of a decision. Accomack residents, I want to remind you, are an eclectic mix of people from doctors, lawyers, teachers, writers, artists, poets, and historians, to shop owners, farmers, fishermen, and a lovely couple on Williston Avenue. They farm and sell soft crabs every year. Of course, we have our share of bossy Yankee women and at least one communist from Massachusetts. In this age of diversity and inclusion, why are there no members of the town council or town residents included on these committees to decide the fate, the best use of the school and property, in consideration of the historic nature of the town of Accomack, one of the oldest county seats in America? If you ever need a superintendent of schools, Christopher, if you decide to leave sometime, I just want you all to know that I am available. I have a master's degree, I have 12 years teaching experience, I can sing and I can dance. And I have maintained a sense of humor which God the Father has given me. I hope all of you hold on to your joy and your sense of humor. And just in case you're wondering about my dancing abilities, my favorite dance is doing the mashed potatoes. And I will be available in August.
Thank you. All right, next, Ms. Tricia.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have a broken tooth. It hurts when I pull my mask off, but I'm going to do it because I don't think you can hear me otherwise, so excuse my tooth. The ear hurts. Good evening. I have missed several of the meetings, and I'm sorry to say I feel that I'm not up on things as much as I should be. So if I ask questions that sound idiotic, I'm probably one of those Yankee women Chris was just talking about, the bossy ones. But please tell me if I ask something that you've already answered, and I won't waste your time. I'd like to know how many school board members are on the committee that's being proposed. concern is that there be 3 school board members on the committee so that there will be the opportunity to have the Open Meetings Act come into play. I am concerned about the people who are on the committee. I don't know who they are, and I'm wondering if we are going to be apprised of who they are and what their expertise is to serve on the committee. I join in the people who are on the town council in asking that the town council have a person, at least a person, who can serve on this committee. I think there are quite a few willing people to do that, and there's also people in the neighborhood who would be willing to do that. I'm hoping that there will be people with expertise in construction materials, restoration, and reconstruction trades that will be appearing on this committee. I especially hope that there will be people who have some expertise in asbestos containment, since we understand that there is an enormous amount of asbestos in the building. I think that there are people who are with other parts of the county government who could serve on the committee if that expertise is not available within the persons who are identified so far. And I don't know that, but I would volunteer my time to help find those people if the need was there. I also would like to know if, I would like to say that I think it's important that the people in the town be told how the committee members were chosen and by whom. And that this process stay open. I have read and I understand that it's supposed to be open and transparent, and I think it's critical that it is. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Tad Wilbur.
Dr. Holden and Mr. Reese and Mr. Holden, and indeed all of you there. I just want to thank you for doing the due diligence that we did ask you to do. And from my reading of the report, it seems that it's come back way better than anybody expected. $1.8 million to make the building structurally sound would leave you $3.2 million according to your last budget that you had shown to us last May in order to fit out the building. From my talking to people around the town, people are very concerned that the streetscape, which is the appearance of the building from the street, remain unchanged. So I would like you to be very well aware of that. And also too, we continue to be worried about the state of Bailey Hall. It is a listed historic building. Accomack has 165 structures that contribute to the historic district, and we are second in the state to Williamsburg. And we would like you to keep this in mind, and also to keep in mind that the problem with Bailey Hall. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate all the comments. And I would like to take this time, although it's not on the agenda, to sort of update you, as I promised, what's going on. The group did meet, and of course, the expertise of the group, you will be able to read, it was in the paper, we talked about it last week in our meeting. But we did meet to review the second report. We are now going to have consultants put together both reports where they can then come back and then assess, and then be able to give us a better idea of the total cost. Then we would go to the board of supervisors, be that chair, vice chair. But we have had that first meeting, and we are going to move forward. We will keep you all up to date as things happen. Okay. Can't answer any questions, but at least if you afterwards, if you have any questions, we will gladly answer that. But Mr. World died for all that. Okay. Item 3.01, approval of minutes. You had an opportunity to review the minutes. Are there any corrections? If not, hearing none, comments, Tim will declare the minutes. Item 4.01, facility use policy. And this is asking for an immediate approval. Does you want to give us a quick overview?
Good evening. We wanted to present the facility or make an addition to the facility use policy because as we're all aware, food trucks are popping up everywhere. And that's not bad, that's good, they're local, it's local business. However, what we're finding that is happening is that our schools are allowing food trucks to come on, they're inviting, they're not just coming on. They're inviting food trucks to come on to either serve their staff, no kids are being served during school time or anything like that. However, it is still liability when you're bringing outside vendors and people on your grounds. And so that is the reason why we decided, before we get into some major trouble, as Bobby told me, that we had 2 food trucks at one school for a parent night. We shorted out something twice. So, you know, they have guidelines they're supposed to follow. So of course, you know, in Northern Virginia, there are oodles and lots of food trucks. So we went back and we did some research to find out some other school divisions that did have a food truck policy. So our facilities chairperson, Mr. Brian Patterson, took that information and he kind of created our own addition to the policy for allowing food trucks to come on. This is, as I said, not to do anything during the school day to serve to students, but our principals are inviting them on for other activities. And as you can see with the policy here, if they invited them on after school for a football game or a soccer game or things like that, they have to follow the policy. We need liability insurance, and that is a main thing that we need when they are coming on our property, is liability. Who is liable if something happens? And so that's what this policy is all about. And I know that it's becoming, we're close to the end of the year, and some schools have already, I think, organized having a couple of food trucks on their property for different events for teachers. So we wanted to get an immediate approval so that they would know that they have to follow the proper channels and protocol before they can bring those food trucks on. So that's why we asked for the immediate approval.
One minor change or the hour.
Oh, yes. This policy is a July 11, 2000 is last time. The full policy has been revised. So we really, we didn't look at the whole policy. All we looked at is the part that we needed to add in with the food trucks. But Mr. Reese did pick up an error in the entire policy, KG-R. The last page of the policy, under G, it had at G at $7.50 per hour. We would not get a custodian for $7.50 an hour. And that doesn't coincide with what we are normally doing now. So we're going to add in there an appropriate custodial fee will be paid to the school for custodial services when it is required for he or she to be at the school. We're going to keep the rest of it like it is. We're just going to change that first part and take all of that out.
Any questions? Good. Janet and Lisa.
I see on here, this is just, I'm sorry, I didn't see this, I didn't have time today to look at the agenda, and I have not read this all the way through, but if you could just walk me through this. I see that this, the food truck has to apply to the school facility use committee at least 7 days prior to the date of the event.
Right. It's not the food, it's the food truck has to present it to the principal. See, what we're finding is the principals are inviting them. They're not asking them, the principals are inviting them. So if I wanted to bring a food truck on for something, then I have to, when I contact them, I have to get the paperwork within 7 days and submit it to the chair of the committee with all of those, the liability insurance, certificate from the health department. That's one of the main things, that we have to get all of that. We're not just gonna open this up for any food truck to say they wanna come on, but if they did for all, you know, any kind of services or anything they wanted to do, they have to follow these things. But our principals right now are inviting them all to come on Friday.
And then there's, it looks like for most events, there's no charge for the food truck, but for fundraising, there is a fee.
If the principal invites them to come on, then usually what we found during Teacher Appreciation Week and everything, the principal's inviting them. So the school is picking up whatever, like say a taco truck came on and every teacher for Teacher Appreciation got a taco, free taco. So the school picked that up. But if they're gonna come on at the school, if it goes through the building, facilities use, and they approve it because they've got everything there, then they have to go through paying the fee just like any other normal pay. That second page of that states that if it's a non-school based event, then they have to do all the different things. And if it's a school-based event, then they can be, the fee can be exempted if the principal has invited them to come on.
Dr. Johnson.
I have a question, it's actually a thought, small one perhaps, wherever we specify days to indicate whether we in fact are talking about calendar days or business days. My particular interest is at 1S where we indicate 3 to 5, there's gonna be a big difference in 3 calendar days as opposed to 3 to 5 business. 1S.
Oh, I see.
Just a suggestion.
Days. So what you're saying is we need to specify whether it's calendar days or school days. And, I can go back to Brian and find out how they do it in the regular policy, and that is in the regular policy at 3 to 5 days. See, the only thing that we changed in this whole policy is everything is underlined. So right now, as you're saying, we missed that other thing, that's 2,000, we need to go back, and Brian and I will talk about that, Dr. Patterson. This whole policy probably needs to be revised. If it has not been revised since 2000, then it does, this whole policy probably needs to be revised. So that was in the original policy. So the only thing that we're asking tonight is when we're putting the underlying part in the original policy. But, this policy is gonna be looked at with the committee this summer, revise it.
Maybe I misunderstood, so if we approve this, then the principals won't allow them to invite them, they have to go through
They can still
process.
invite them on, correct? I mean, they
Okay.
want to invite them on, yes, they just have to have the proper paperwork to
Do
bring
that,
them
some
on.
days.
We want to make sure they've been approved by the health department. We want to make sure they have liability insurance if someone gets hurt or somebody gets sick or something from food or whatever. We just want to make sure. And we also want to make sure that they are not serving food, during the school day, the kids, because we can't do that for our
Gotcha.
food program. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve?
All right, I motion, to approve the updated facility use policy as amended.
Second.
It's been moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 5.01, the first reading of, tutoring for pay. Item, 502, first reading for procurement for federal awards. Review those over the next, 2 weeks and contact the central office if you have any questions. Item 6.01, section 504, non-discrimination policy and procedures, second reading. Do we have a motion to approve?
I motion we approve policy 6.01.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7.01, the approval of the vouchers. You have an opportunity to review the vouchers. Are there any questions? Hearing none, by unanimous consent, we declare the vouchers approved. Item 8.01, financial report.
Good evening. You have the federal programs report in front of you,
Yes.
and I would like to point out that since Dwayne Wiley started here, I think this is maybe his 3rd week, he's taking up all the CARES programs to make sure that those reimbursements are caught up to date. So if there are any concerns about that, the others I think are pretty much on target. We would also like to ask, at the next meeting, we have to review our return to, wait a minute, the safe return to in-person instruction and continuity of services every 6 months. So we would like to schedule, or for you to make a motion to schedule to have a public hearing at our next meeting. Dr. Hall and her staff have worked on that, but we still have to solicit public input, and while there is public comment at all these meetings, we like to have actually a public hearing on that. So we'd like that at the next meeting, if that suits the board.
All right, can I have a motion to, have a public hearing on Return to Learn, program at our next meeting?
A motion that we have a public hearing to review the safe, return policy at the next meeting.
Second.
It's moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, then just one more thing. I put the picture up. This was on our webpage. The Child Nutrition Department is completing an interactive My Plate nutrition educational lessons with pre-K and/or K classrooms in all of our elementary schools. Each lesson covers the importance of a well-balanced diet, My Plate food groups, and a hands-on understanding of a product sample from each food group. At the end of each lesson, every student gets to eat the food on their plate and take home the My Plate and nutritional placemat. Those lessons are being completed by Brandon and his dietetic intern, and I'll let Brandon introduce her. And they're responsible for these snacks tonight. And there's a picture. The picture we have has been partially eaten, but you get you get the gist of it.
So as you can see, the students enjoyed it. This is one of my, Anna Burr, she's a dietetic intern through Dominican University, and she's gonna be with me for a 200-hour rotation, and she's learned to be a dietitian. So this is one of her projects I put her in charge of. If we implement it in 3 schools so far, so we have 3 to go, but the kids just taking really well to it, learning a lot about fruits and vegetables, why a healthy diet is important. And I just think it's really important for our students to learn because, you know, phys ed teachers don't always have time to dig deep into all these nutritional facts. So she's done a really good job. And she's also a past graduate of Mandeville High School. So.
And University of Maryland is short.
Yep, that's it.
He's short community college.
All right, thank you very much and welcome, Amber. We really appreciate your work. But we thank you all for the treatment tonight as well. Okay. Item 8.02, course offering.
Hey, good evening. So I went ahead and gave y'all another update handout of what I'm going to go over. Also, in case you didn't have a chance to look at the board docs, I did put on there a course offering guide with correction, and I put things in yellow highlights since there's so many things that are already underlined and bold, as well as what the new course offering guide would look like as of today, and then kind of a little cheat sheet, which is what I gave you tonight, to kind of give you a little overview. So I wanted to start off with some items that would require board approval. Working with East York Community College, again, I know they come to you and they presented about the passport program. We've continued to work on that. We've had a little turnover at East York Community College with the vice president, but we still continue to work and be able to secure all the courses we need to be successfully in line with East York Community College's contract, but also through your SACS review and to meet all the SACS review requirements as well for the East York Community College. So on page 37 and 38 of the new guide as it stands now, as you'll see, I'm asking for approval for the 6 college classes before you. Those 6 classes, as of right now, are actually 9-week classes, which are the same as the ones that you all approved last year, which was the college government, the college art, the college psychology. It worked out great this year for our seniors. We even had a couple of juniors pick up the college art and psychology. So these classes, again, would be in line, and the counselors have done a great job also trying to pair the classes together. Like try to do a government class with a psychology class, so that way they actually have a full block all semester long. Also for some of our seniors, they only did maybe college government. The other 9 weeks, they had it early out. So it kind of worked really well with them. Now as for our juniors, we did discuss any of our juniors that would do this, we could put them onto an online APEX program, so that way they would be able to pick up another class that way. But the way we mapped out with the college and with our planning is, even with our juniors, they should have a full schedule all year and not, have empty downtime. Ultimately, the American literature, British literature, the prerequisite would be they have to do English 111 and 112 first. So both of our teachers, Ms. Lee and Ms. Bell, are both certified to teach all of those. So they would actually be teaching for us. And the other four, we are working on the quantitative and statistical reasoning. We may have at least one, if not two teachers possibly in our school division already that is certified to teach that. And we would also teach that out to all of our high schools. If it's only one teacher, we would do, like we've done with environmental science and other dual enrollment, teach out to everyone. But the last two, we would do asynchronous, the way we did with the college government, with an Eastern Shore Community College teacher, until we get somebody certified. And that has been our goal. That's also part of our lab grant program that we have been working on too, is what can we do to help our staff get certified to teach these dual enrollment. And also some of our teachers like Ms. Lee and other dual enrollment teachers have actually made a point this year of taking field trips to the community college. To get them to go into the community college library to see what it's like to be on a campus and to do some research on the campus versus always being in the high school. So we really want it to be a good collaboration for our kids. So that was the first thing. I don't know if you want to approve that first, or the other class to approve is a study skills class. Study skills class is a similar class to what we had many years ago, that we had to discontinue after an audit from the State Department because of the way it was being used. So the state has redone how the class should be used. This class is not a class for a specific group. It's not just for L students, it's not just for students with disabilities, it's for all students. Mr. O'Shea and Ms. Giddens went to Hampton for a conference where they were with other school divisions and looked at how other school divisions do like a 9th grade academy. And we used to have that many years ago, so we're looking at maybe bringing some of those components back to the division for our 9th graders, because I think it's a real shell shock for our 8th graders coming up to high school, that they're just dumped into these classes that they may not be ready for, because a lot of the high school classes are lecture-based. You take notes, a lot of them don't know what it is to take notes. They're maybe more used to having a worksheet or things. So, I mean, even if they were to take an AP class or a long class, a lot of them are not necessarily prepared for that. So we looked at the video SCED codes to see can we actually offer it as a high school class. We also looked at the national SCED codes and the course description from the national SCED codes as well, so that this is a course that this summer I want to meet with a group of teachers. Not any specific endorsement is required for this class. So we could have a history teacher do it, we could have an English teacher, we could have a CTE teacher. But have a collaboration to come together with a pacing guide and a curriculum of what would be best to help our freshmen, especially freshmen that are at risk, to help them be better successful into high school in general. Things like taking notes, things like doing research, things like MLA and citing a research paper. A lot of our kids, they write all day and don't reference one site they looked at on the website. So those are some of the things that we would look at, and also look at the scheduling too, as far as how we do their scheduling. Maybe they need this course before they take the English 9 class, or maybe they need this course before they take a math class. So we need to look at strengths and weaknesses when we're grouping our kids too. So these are the courses that I would need board approval. I don't know if you want to do that now or go through the rest of it.
Go ahead. When you first got up there, you said this would be for anybody. On your paper, it says at risk. So is it for everybody or just at risk
The
students?
first main group we want to look at is our at-risk kids. We want to identify our at-risk kids, kids that we've seen through middle school that may struggle, that could use the extra resource, but any student in 9th grade would be welcome to take the course.
All right,
We have a student-
I would like that to be entered, just instead of having just at risk, I should say have any student be listed.
And we don't actually have that in writing in the guide at all. Of course, that was just part of my notes that
Yeah,
our
I would
main
like to
focus
be
is
in that
definitely
before I vote on, me personally vote on this.
Yeah.
That's me.
No, it's a good question, because, I mean, we do have some kids that are on the advanced track already in middle school that might be on the advanced track and maybe need some extra resource to help.
Any other questions?
So some other updates, that we don't need board approval for, but I just kind of wanted to give you an overall, since there was a lot of yellow in the corrections. Is that on page 6 of the new guide, originally it just said for seniors, because last year we just started going with the government classes and the psychology. But since we're adding more of these college courses for dual enrollment that could be offered to our juniors and seniors, we just want to be able to put in there it's for juniors and seniors to identify both groups. Pages 9 through 13, we just added note 7 to be more clear about what community service is for our transfer students. So the transfer students understand that we've got 40 hours, but it's 10 hours for every year you're actually in high school in Accomack County. So if you don't transfer until your junior year, you only need 20 hours. But we wanted to make sure that was specific and that they understood that and don't feel like, oh, I gotta do all these hours when they don't have to. The SAT, that was long past due, it needed to be updated. Also, we got confirmation from East Shore Community College. They stopped giving the placement test during COVID, and they have no intention at this point to bring that back. So at this time, we went ahead and struck through all that throughout the guide, that that's not a requirement now to do an actual dual enrollment course. Also on page 35, we just deleted the word semester, since now some of these courses are not semester courses, they're 9-week courses for our dual enrollment classes. Another big change that we wanted to make sure we added so that people understand is on page 77, and I also kind of give you a little cheat sheet from DOE, and that is about the college career and civic readiness indicator that is new or index, but it's an indicator for accreditation now. We've kind of had a waiver these last few years, but now it goes into place. The state wants every high school student to be able to meet this requirement by either taking an AP course, a dual enrollment course, be a completer of a CTE sequential class, and have passed the CTE test that coincides with it, or meet one of these requirements from what I listed here that we added to the guide. So things we looked at was mentorship, externship, internship, and cooperative education. We did cooperative education for many years with marketing, and we even did it with some of our business classes. Mr. Lawrence went to the summer conference this past year, so he was actually able to bring some of that back in this year within his classes. We have a lot of our kids that work, so if they work, let's give them credit for it. We just have to make sure we do the proper paperwork. Internship was a big change for us because they doubled the hours, and they doubled the paperwork that's required to do the internship, but it's well worth it. We've seen it pay dividends for our kids who are doing the internships right now in our elementary and middle schools. But we also have more internships with students that are doing it like NASA or NOAA and various other places as well. An externship is typically, I'll use for example, cosmetology. If Ms. DeAngelis were to have one of her students go work into a salon for a minimum of 40 hours, which is the career field they are studying, that counts as an externship. So that would count as towards meeting that indicator. And then there's mentorship. And with these, they give us the guide, and we pick these four as the main focus that would be the easiest to transition with, also what we can and can't give credit for. That's the other thing, so with the mentorship, we can only give a maximum of a half a credit, which that's only 140 hours that they would do versus the co-op, and the internship is 280. So with those two, they could actually get a full credit if they meet all those hours. Externship is just something that's simply part of the program itself. And then the other one that's not here because we already do it anyway, is clinicals with our nursing program. So we already do that, so that's been an easy one for that indicator. And honestly, when we look at this, a lot of our kids are meeting several of the indicators and are meeting the indicator several different ways. Some of our kids already do dual enrollment, plus do an internship. So as long as we're meeting one of them, we should be successful at meeting this indicator for accreditation in our high schools. The other thing that we also went through is changed all course codes to SCED codes. I have to give a huge thank you out to Brenda Smith, who works very hard on state reports. And this kind of summer was very difficult. She got a lot of miles in on her feet coming down the hall of which course code matched which SCED code, because the state eliminated the cheat sheet of course codes. So we had to do a lot of searching. The state also eliminated a lot of classes, and we had to look at how do we rename the classes and where does it fit now. So to make this easier for both of us, we went straight to SCED codes, and the state's slowly been saying, they still use some course codes, but they kind of do a slash with a SCED code. And then also course description, English was a big one that we wanted to make sure we put the new descriptions in. This is a fluid document, and I say that because currently, if you notice on the front page, I put July 2023, because we do want to add the new updated course descriptions for history. Social studies standards were just approved by the state. However, everything they have right now is in draft copy. So once they clean up the copy, then I'm gonna put the fresh descriptions on that, as well as we're gonna do PD on the new pacing guides for history. And then obviously table of contents. And then another thing that I have not added in yet, but I know we've discussed this before, I am still patiently, very patiently, I think the Navy's tired of hearing from me, waiting for approval for JROTC. I think I've spoke to every lieutenant, admiral, everyone that I can hit an extension for. And right now, they said I should know in 2 months. But in the meantime, I have already worked with Bobby as far as the building, and having the building ready to go at Arcadia High School in the same location they used to have a building years ago. That way make it easier for electric, as well as for plumbing, because we want to have a bathroom inside the unit. And then Dr. Hall and I up there, we looked at where we could use for storage, because things like uniforms and different things, especially when we look at the swords and different things they have, need to have extra locks in order for us to pass approval through them. So I got my JROTC ready to go, but just don't want to put it in yet until I know for sure we have final approval. And I've definitely been on until I like to have it hopefully by June. Any other questions?
First comment, real brief. So I want to say thank you in particular among the additional dual enrollment classes. It's not lost on me that there are a couple at least that will help develop life skills, particularly the intro to human communication. I took a moment to look at that and make sure that it includes conflict resolution. I know that's a story more for PSCC perhaps. And similarly with the study skills. Last comment there with regard to the study skills, just for consideration, I think it would be value added if there were a deliverable, and maybe there is, for the study skills course. My question is with regard to the addition of British literature. I can appreciate that. Are there plans to look at any of the other literature-related courses that ESC offers? Can you say more about that?
Yes, we do. We are still going to continue looking at more courses that we can do with ESCC, and especially based off of what our current Accomack students are certified to teach. This was actually something of interest of Miss Lee, and then Miss Bell jumped right on and said, well, wait a minute, am I certified too? Because I'd like to teach this as well. So right now, I believe just finished up last Friday with interviews for the vice president position. So hopefully, I have a meeting this Thursday. So hopefully I'll have good news, because we would like to do next steps forward so that I can come back again with some more courses. And again, the more courses our teachers can teach, the better. That way, they're getting our own teachers right in the classrooms with them, or at least within our division. If not, then we are already working on plans, again, with more asynchronous classes. And one of the things that they did tell us with the asynchronous classes, there's a 24 enrollment cap. ACPS, there's a 34. So college English, since our teachers teach it, we can do 34. If we go with an East Shore Community College teacher, the cap is 24. However, we've already talked to some of the professors, some of them have said, they are willing to take on an extra class within the same semester, or do one each semester. And the other option would be, if we hit the cap and we know we have more interest of qualified, especially seniors, because seniors would be our priority, to have them go on campus itself to take the class, as worst case, so they can still benefit from being able to get the dual enrollment credit. I think across the board, we all agree that the more they take, the better.
Yes. I'm excited about all the new classes. That's wonderful. members who could really benefit from that, and I feel as though they should really be encouraged. I don't know if mandatory is the correct word, but they should, you don't have to C or better average, you should be expected to take that class. It's only gonna set you up to be successful in high school. If you don't know how to study in middle school, it's not gonna get any better in high school. And then the last thing about the internships, so internships used to be limited really to seniors, but now it'll be 11th or 12th graders.
Correct.
Internships. And then one thing a little maybe beyond this, I didn't know if we were going to, I think this came up last year, we're going to maybe revisit the idea of, with the grading scale, going with total points. Instead of, if you get a grade in a class, let's say you get an 80, and we convert that to a B, and then we convert that B to a 3. And I didn't know if that would be something that could be maybe considered this summer as you all move forward. And just, so instead of turning the 80 into a B, which turns into a 3, which often is time, it's difficult to calculate. And then I think at the end of the year, there can be a confusion or things can get very complicated with those top spots at graduation. And I think if it was just total points, there might be a little bit more clearly who was the valedictorian or who was the salutatorian. Class placement might be a little easier.
Right, I know, that has actually been brought up in the past. Currently, the way the course offering guide is written is we do go by the GPA out to the 4th decimal, and at that point, if it's still a tie, then we go by numerical. As far as what does the A represent, a 97, a 98, a 90. And I will say, we've had some parents this past year come forward, especially transfer parents who come from other school divisions that have seen, since they've gone to the 10-point scale, and I know kind of one of the things you're talking about, we have a lot of students within one group that we have to really break down the numbers. So a lot of school divisions we've already researched already have already gone to plus and minuses within the letter. So it's an A minus, A plus, and they break down the GPA even further. I am working with the, revisiting the grading policy, because I know there was a policy change during COVID that several teachers and administrators have brought that they would like to have that revisited. So I can certainly talk to them as far as their feelings on the grading policy and then bring that back to you all.
Any other comments? Any other questions? All right, could I have a motion to approve the recommendations on the courses?
All right, I motion we approve the updated course offering guide for 2023-24.
Second?
Moved and second. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Holmes, are we gonna have her bring that to us next time?
Yes, she will give us an update. But you talking about the grading thing?
Yes.
That's over the summer. That's gonna be over the summer.
That's what I want the next time.
I'm gonna try to have it done by the second meeting in June,
Okay.
because obviously we wanted to move forward, if not, then at least by August, so that moving for the start of the school year, the grading policy is in place.
Okay, all right.
Hi, I'm sorry, I apologize. Mr. Bennett was asked to come up with a list and to go over some of the projects he's working on. I think it was a school board member request, and I did not realize it wasn't on the agenda, or I would have
Okay.
discussed it in my financial report. But nonetheless, he has worked on this, and it is ready, and I was wondering if he could come up and do that now.
You can come up now.
Okay.
If I have
Thank
no
you.
objections, come on up. I
Now,
didn't
I
realize-
if you don't want me to.
Hey, look, while he's coming up, I wanted to officially welcome back Superintendent to our meeting. I was supposed to do that at the very beginning, but we're glad to see you. It's been a while, and welcome back.
Good evening. That's why Dr. Hall was trying to give an update on not only projects that are ongoing, but projects that are in development and projects that are going to be under development prior to starting school in September. So I'm going to kind of go down the list. I'm
I'm sure there may be questions after, so I can provide additional details, but I kind of just want to go through the list. And if I've got a PO in place or it's something like that, I'll let you know. I'll start with metal detectors. We talked about them the last meeting I was here. We now have a PO in place for all the metal detectors that you all approved us to get. They will be in the schools for the start of the fall session. So that will happen in all of our schools. There'll be some training involved with these new detectors. They're apparently a little bit more sophisticated, and although they're easier to read, there's a training program that goes along with it. Finishing up on touch-free fixtures, we ran into a problem with availability of some of the fixtures. There was a hold-up. We're experiencing that on a lot of different products, but hopefully they've said the products will be here next week. We'll get finished up hopefully the final week in May, if I can work it out with the schools to get in there. We're currently working on proposals for therapeutic playgrounds in all of our elementary schools. I've got a pre-bid meeting tomorrow for the metal roof on Tangier. I have 4 proposals right now for the Nanduit tennis court renovation, which is probably gonna be closer to a redo than a renovation. It's basically everything's kind of shot, so working on that. Haven't shared these numbers with Beth yet, but I will. We may have to do some work there. Nanduit High School greenhouse, I've got 2 different proposals on that are going to be demo the current greenhouse completely and put a new greenhouse in its place that will be up to date with the proper equipment, heating, cooling, all that stuff. I've worked with them and spoke with them again last week and again today, just to get some of the details shored up. And I'm waiting on another proposal. It looks like we've got money earmarked for this project, and it looks like the proposals that I've got will fall within that budget. They won't exceed it. We've had to do a little bit of work in-house on electrical and things like that, but we should be in good shape there. Arcadia High track and field, the field events, I've got 3 different proposals on the paving that needs to be done and the concrete work, and I'm waiting on a proposal for the surfacing of the surfaces once their asphalt's down. Goal is to get all that stuff done over the summer, early into the fall, before they quit doing the surfacing for the year. Field lights at both Arcadia High School and Nanduit High School, we're looking at replacing the field lights there. They're old. We got a number of lights out of those schools. We're looking to go with LED fixtures. Will be a big change in the lighting that we have. It'll be brighter and draw less electricity. So I've got those proposals, and probably we'll have a PO in place for that work by the end of this week, I think. And we will have those lights in place for the first football games in the fall. Can't believe I just said that out loud. But that's what we're shooting for. Bleachers. Nanduit High School, I'm getting prices and have a couple prices already on replacing all the bleachers that old and obsolete. Same at Arcadia, but we're not looking at replacing, we're looking to add more bleachers. Given the age of the current bleachers, we're going to look at adding bleachers on each side of them. Have one of them that will have a ramp, making it handicap accessible to get up in place for a wheelchair. I've talked with Principal O'Shea on this, and he's on board. As long as he gets more seating, he just wants more seating. So working on that, and again, that I don't really have a schedule on how we get that done, but we're working on that. Then I've just got a pile of paving that's going on. Nanduit High School, we're gonna do all the paving down there. That's already PO in place, contract in place. Working on paving for sections of Arcadia High School, Arcadia Middle School, Kega Tank, rear bus parking, the new bus parking we put back there, I believe last year, we're looking at paving that now, and Shinky, we're gonna pave up there the whole Shinky parking lot. Bus shop, I'm working on a 30 by 40 tire storage building there. We just recently finished the new office modular building for them, that's in place. Beth and I are working right now on getting proposals on the technology building renovation addition work. That's going on. I'm working with paint contractors right now on getting painting prices for Nanduit High School gym, Accomack Elementary gym, and a number of bathrooms in several of the schools. On the building that Karen's got me looking into, we're looking at a number of things on that, trying to get something in place for that. That's about all the projects, but I'm also working on the safety audit right now with the Department of Education and the Department of Criminal Justice, and also right now the Virginia Department of Education have said in 3 webinars in the last week that they want all schools in the state of Virginia to update all their site information, which will include building information and all the systems within the building. Electric, water, sewer, HVAC, everything, and they gave us a blessing to know that it's all due by June 15th.
Did you track, in Arcadia?
Yes, the track.
What's the status of that?
I've got proposals for all the paving work that needs to be done. I've got a proposal on the surfacing once the paving's done. I do not have a schedule right now, but my goal is to have it done summertime, early fall, where it can be completed. The surfacing people quit generally, they don't do any more surfacing after about October 15th. I've got to get the pavement in place and have a 30-day cure period in order to get it. And I don't want to be too late and they count on trying to get it done in the spring of next year, when I know they want to be there in May 2024. So.
Well, we want to thank you very much. I know that you're wondering what else to do next, so. But if you could, okay, if you could, it would be nice if you get with, Ms. Only, y'all can send this to us in writing so we can sort of see it. But, great job. Thank you.
I was just wondering, so you're gonna demolish the greenhouse in Andorra, and the new greenhouse will be the same footprint?
Not the exact same, no. It's gonna be roughly the same square footage, but not, the footprint's not exactly the same. It'll be narrower and longer, it looks like. It will go on the existing pad. Just working through the details of that right now.
And the function of that greenhouse has changed, because the footprint of the previous function was when we had a full-blown CTE horticultural program down there. And now it would be used for, say, a botany class and do a similar to what's happening at Arcadia High School. So the need for the size is not there, you know, because it's big.
It is big.
It's big, so the need for the big size is not there, because we're not gonna start another horticultural CTE program. It's gonna be used by the science department, was our understanding.
This is new to me, that's the first I've heard of that.
Have we ever had plans
All
for
right.
horticultural?
Thank you so very much.
Thank you for coming.
We are.
All right. Item 9.1, superintendent report.
Yes. This summer, we're proposing the school board will be off Monday, June 19th, and June 10th holiday. Then we'll begin the 10th-hour 4-day work week. Summer hours will begin on Tuesday, June 20th, 23 from 7 o'clock until 5:30. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Lunch will be 30 minutes. The summer hours, 4-day work week will end on Friday, August 18th at 5:30. We'll resume regular schedule on Monday, August 21st, 2023. This is something we've been doing a long time. I'd like to get approval for this tonight.
Okay, any questions of the superintendent?
That's, Chris, I just want to say thank you for kind of being more explicit this year with it and having the actual time down, so thank you.
All right, do I have a motion?
A motion to approve the 4-day work week for summer employees.
Second?
This is moved to the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Chairman, I'd like to, a few announcements. I'd like to thank Dr. Holden. Medically, I've had some problems. The board members, former board members have contacted me. Dr. Bracy in Portsmouth went to Roanoke for me. I was unable to attend. The Region 2 Superintendent of the Year, he called me and he accepted everything for me. But I really want to let y'all know, the students, administrators, and I want to thank Central Office, Dr. Hall, Claire Chandler, Beth Only, Doug Jordan, Karen Taylor. And I'm gonna tell y'all something too. It's a strong team. It's been there. They picked the slack up, took care of things for me, and they did a wonderful job. I mean, I'm telling you right now, they stepped up. But I appreciate the board members. It's been something that it's hard to explain, and got 2 issues going on right now, But like I said, I want to thank everybody that's talked to my wife, but I appreciate everything. Thank you so much. I also want to thank Dr. Schaefer at Community College. He's reached out to me and talked to me too. Thank you, that's all I have.
And we do want to thank your wife, because she
Yeah,
has been the conduit.
Yeah, she's talked around a lot. Thank you.
All right. Item,